Hey guys, Jordan here. Today we're taking a look at our final NZXT motherboard. Actually saying that since they've released these ones, they've actually announced a B850 as well. I expect we'll cover those in due course. But this is going to be the N9 Z890, so their flagship for the new Intel Core Ultra 2 series processors. I'll tell you all about it after I quickly pay some bills with this video sponsor. If you've just built your new PC, maybe you want to change some of the personalization settings, or maybe you want to stream and you need to change the audio settings. Unfortunately, to do that, you're going to need to activate Windows. Microsoft's pricing, though, could be quite difficult to justify the cost. However, I found a better alternative, VIP-SCDkey. Here you can get Windows 11 keys at huge discounts. Just go to the Windows 11 Pro page and use my exclusive 25% off code JA and get it for just $23 or around £18. I completed my order and activated Windows 11 Pro in just a few minutes. They also have Windows 10 Enterprise keys for only $11 with the same code JA. But it's not just software, they also have games too, like Hammerwatch 2 for only $6 after using my code. VIP-SCD keys have got great deals on software and games. Check out the links in the description and don't miss out. So as I mentioned, this is going to be the N9 Z890, and with the previous Z6 and Z790 boards we had up to N7, so this is going to take it up to a new level with this series. When I initially had this, I thought it's a bit of a shame because we're only going to have one generation of chip on the 1151 socket, but as of a couple of days ago at the time of recording this, Intel have announced that they're going to be doing a refresh of Arrow Lake, so we're going to get a bit more life out of their socket, which I think is a very good idea, given that buying a new motherboard for one generation I think is just absolutely silly. So it's nice that we'll actually get a bit more life out of these boards. So let's get straight into it and we'll go over the features of course as we go. So we've got the board straight away, and then presumably here we're going to have some Wi-Fi antennas like the previous board. We've also got some adapters here as well, so these are the 8-pin to the older 4-pin, and then a 4-pin for power as well, so you've got two of those there, and then you can plug your accessories from NZXT straight into the board. And we've also got 4 M.2 screws. I'm quite surprised they're not using like quick releases in this. This is kind of feels a bit old to be using screws now for motherboards, especially on that higher end one like this. So here is the N9 Z890. As you can see, I've gone for the white one for this one, but it is going to be available in black as well. This is actually a lot more matte than I was expecting it to be when I peeled it off. I thought it was going to be a bit more shiny, so it's nice that it is that matte finish. Up by that VRM, we've got some very nice fins there for our VRM choke and MOSFET cooling. This has got a 20+1+1 phase power, so really beefy, obviously suited more for the higher end processors. Especially with that refresh coming up, we're going to have, I expect, more intensive CPUs, so that's going to be something that will support those, which is great. Of course, our LGA 1851 socket, that's actually the RL socket, so that's the revised socket. That's going to help with the thermals and also reduce the mounting pressure. Let's have a quick look on the back of the board, just a plain kind of matte grey on there, no backplate or anything on that one. So let's get zoomed in and have a look around. So top left of the board, we've got 2 8-pin EPS connectors. These look like solid pins. We've also got 2 4-pin fan headers, so CPU fan and aero pump. We've got a system fan one. Then we've got the first of the 8-pin peripheral adapters for NZXT. We've also got one of the standard older 4 pins on there as well. We've then got this really nice clear section. Reminds me of the clear Game Boys back in the day. Don't know if a lot of you viewers may not be old enough to remember those, but they were very cool and like slightly translucent, which is very nice. I like that they've implemented it on this board. So we've got our 24-pin motherboard connector. We've also got our Type-C header. That's going to be USB 3.2 Gen 2. Then going down on the right angle, we've got a Type-A header. That's going to be USB 3.2 Gen 1. 4 SATA 6 gigabit ports. So we've got another 3.2 Gen 1 Type-A connector there. So those cases that could support 4 USB-As and 1 USB-C, you're covered with this board. Also under that panel, we've got an LCD readout. Very handy to see what kind of postcode numbers are going on, especially for troubleshooting. We've got our front panel on the bottom right of the board. Power and reset buttons. Love to have those. And we've also got some startup sequence LEDs on the bottom right of the board, this time rather than the top left. We've then got another one of the 8-pin NZXT connectors, a standard 5V addressable 3-pin. Then we've got 2 more 4-pin fans, 2 USB 2 ports, great for adapters and hubs and things. Then we've got another 2 5V addressable 3 pins. And finally, our front panel audio on the bottom left. This board is going to be using a Realtek ALC 4082 codec, but if you're really into your sound, I highly recommend you just get a sound card. So going back up to our socket, of course, support for the Core Ultra 2 series processors and the refresh that will be coming up in the next month or so. Then we've got our DIMM slots. This will support up to 192 gigabytes of DDR5. At the time of filming, that's up to 8,000 megatransfers per second. I expect you'll see capacity and speed upgrades in future BIOS updates though. Here down the side we got where the LEDs will run, so it's going to go down between the rear I/O and our VRAM cooling down there, along down the NVMe heatsink, and then onto this panel on the side. So then going down to our expansion slots, we've got our first one here. We need a screwdriver for this one, so I'm taking off that heatsink, really beefy piece of aluminium there for some nice heat dissipation. Thermal pad on the back, and we've also got the push pins where the LEDs will go for our lighting. That goes down to the board there. Then we've got support on our top slot there for a Gen 5 NVMe up to 80mm in length. We've then got some additional support under this metal panel that we'll just pull off. On the back of there, thermal pads. Nice to see that we've got thermal pads on this one. I believe the N7 had a plastic top, so this one much more beefy for those higher end, faster drives are going to produce more heat. You don't want those on the plastic, so this is what I would have liked to see on the N7 boards as well. Hopefully they can make a little change with a second iteration. So a little bit of a different layout for this board. We've got our NVMe slots going into vertical orientation rather than traditionally going along. So we've got 1, 2, 3 and 4, so support there for another 4 80mm NVMe drives. These are all going to be Gen 4. This is an ASRock design board, so they usually do one Gen 5 and the rest Gen 4, so really helps with your throughput and you don't have to reduce your PCIe lanes, especially your graphics card and things like that. So I do like the way that they do these personally. So I'm popping that cover back on. Then we've got our, of course, X16 slot, PCIe Gen 5 armoured slot on the top there. Then there's an additional slot at the bottom, another X16 slot, but this is going to be running at Gen 3 speeds, which I think is a little bit strange. It may be that they've put so much NVMe support that just something had to give in terms of PCIe lanes, and they thought we'd put a Gen 3 at the bottom there, especially as not many people use it nowadays. Obviously, if you're going to go for a creator build and something like that, you're going to pick something like the ProArt, for example, and you're going to have loads of slots available with a higher throughput. But yeah, a little bit of a strange one there, but I expect that it's down to just the sheer amount they've packed on the board. So last but not least, onto the rear I/O. I did look in that gap, if you are wondering. There's no fan. I did wonder that myself. So our Wi-Fi 7 antenna points at the top, these are just screw ones and not easy quick connects. We've got a clear CMOS button and a BIOS flash, very handy buttons to have. We've got an HDMI out, nice for troubleshooting. We've then got 9 USB-A ports. These are a little bit weird on how they've been laid out. It's much like the previous board. The colour doesn't actually match the speed like we generally see. This may change though when you get the retail unit, so just something to bear in mind. We have the 2 light blue USB ports, then also the 4 darker blue below that. These are all 10 gigabits per second. We've then got 3 5 gigs that are around the 5 gig LAN. We've then got a Type-C port, 20 gigabits per second. Then above that we've got the 2 Type-C ports. These are going to be Thunderbolt 4 40 gig. Then we've got an SPDIF, line out, and then a microphone in. So that was a look at the N9 Z890 board from NZXT. Let me know your thoughts down below. Absolutely crammed, as you can see, especially with all those NVMe slots. If you go on the NZXT site, you'll see this listed for around £499. Realistically, you can find it for around £349. So a lot cheaper. That initial price is like, oh, ouch. That's kind of like Asus ProArt range, but you can find this for a lot less if you do go hunting around for it. So I'll leave the links for this in the description box below if you do want to pick one up. I will have a build with this as well as the other boards you've seen very soon. I'm slowly getting there with builds, and there will be a lot coming up, so stay tuned, get subscribed and ding the bell so you don't miss those. Hope you all enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Thank you to NZXT for sending this out for me to look at, and I'll see you all in the next one.